around as many as possible. Just raise your hand as and when you have a question. Use the microphone available and state your name and the organisation you work for. We'll start as ever with Rob Dorset from Sky Sports News.
Hi Carl, nice to see you.
Hi, UK.
You've won 4 Premier League titles, you've won an FA Cup, you've played in a Champions League final. This is a quarter-final in a World Cup against the reigning world champions. How does that compare? It's pretty special, isn't it?
Yeah, to play in a quarter-final of a World Cup is always going to be special. I think it's obviously a little bit more special when it's against France, the reigning world champions. So it's going to be a very tough game, which we know, and we're fully waiting for, with excitement.
You'll almost certainly have the responsibility of marking Kylian Mbappé, who a lot of people feel is the best player in the world right now. But you've come up against him in the past for City against PSG in the Champions League. How do your experiences against him in the past help you when you're trying to prepare for a battle like that?
Obviously, it's always going to help because I've played against him, a number of times now, as you just said, with Manchester City and PSG. But just as well as what you've just said, he's a fantastic player in great form. So it's not going to be an easy task, but it's one that, as a professional footballer, you want to play against the best. And as you just said, I think he's, one of the best, if not the best in the world at the minute.
You've regularly played as a centre-back in a back 5 with England, and you've played just as often as a right-back in a 4. Talk to me about the kind of pros and cons of each and how you have to change your performance depending on how England's set up.
I don't think much changes, really. I feel that the system that we play, whether that's for Manchester City or for England, I don't really bomb forward as much as I probably used to do when I was playing for Tottenham as a wing-back, for example. So it's about reading the game, reading the opponent, reading the formation that the manager wants you to play in and adapting to that, really. It's a team game, it's not a solo game, so I do whatever the manager asks and what's going to benefit the team.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you.
Hi, Carl. Alex, BBC. Do you understand the focus on your battle with Mbappé, and how would you deal with the pressure of that?
Do I understand the focus? Of course I do. I play football, so I do understand what I need to do, and that's obviously to stop him. It's probably easier said than done, but I don't underestimate myself. As we've just said there, I've played him before, and I've come against a lot of great players, in my time playing for England and also Man City and the clubs that I played for. So I have to treat it as another game. I have to take obviously extra care and give him the respect he deserves, but not too much respect because he's also playing England, and we can cause them problems. Okay, it's going to be a tough game, but not one player makes a team.
From the outside looking in, we speak about it all the time, but is it something you speak about as players when there's so much focus on a particular battle?
No, I think the game's not England v Mbappé. The game's England v France. As I just said there, we take respect that he's a good player in good form at the minute, but I'm not going to roll out a red carpet for him in time to go and score. I'm representing my country at a quarter-final of a World Cup, so it's do or die, really. If we lose, we go home, and he's not going to stand in my way, and hopefully winning, a World Cup for my country.
I've seen your teammates at Man City mess around with your FIFA card before about your pace. Who do you think is quicker?
We'll hopefully see on Saturday if I'm chosen. Who knows?
Thanks, Kyle. Isaac here from Citizen Kenya. Basically, knockout tournament going to be very tight and close. The Three Lions have waited for so long, since 1966. Do you think the current squad has what it takes to bag the title after such a long wait? How do you rate your chances heading into the quarters?
We have to, as I just said there, we have to back ourselves. We have to be confident in the players that we've got, the players that have been nurtured over the last 4 years, reaching a semi-final in the World Cup, reaching a final in the Euros, and then obviously we've got to a quarter-final. Okay, we're not there, and we've not gone past what we achieved in the last World Cup or Euros, but we're on the right path in the right direction. And I think with the group of squad that we've got, the confidence is high. We're scoring goals, we're not conceding too many. So we have to be confident, but as I say, Saturday's going to be a very tough game against a very good team. It's the reigning world champions, and we need to be right up to speed, right up to the mark, and make sure that we're singing all from the same hymn sheet to collectively win this game.
Steve Scott from ITV News, Carl. One more on Mbappé, if you don't mind. You said you've played against him several times before. Yeah. As a team, did you come up with a specific plan for that? Did it go well? And have you been using that experience to help Gareth with his strategy for the game?
I think when we've played him the 4 times in the Champions League for Manchester City, you're not just thinking about Mbappé. And I think it's exactly the same on Saturday. You're not just thinking about Mbappé. Okay, he's a tool that they've got in their armoury that's very good. But there is other good players, and we can't underestimate them players that have won big titles, won World Cups. So, okay, he's a great player. We all know that. That's why all the questions are about him. But let's not forget Giroud, who scored countless goals for France and in the Premier League. Dembele, who's for me just as good on the other wing, and a very tricky player. And then you've got Griezmann and stuff like this. That these players can cause you a problem. So, okay, we take her out of him. He's a great player, but for me, all the questions probably shouldn't be about him. We should appreciate that we're seeing a great footballer, but there is other players as well.
Hi, Kyle. It's Mark Manbrines from PA. Just slightly away from Mbappé, but something equally as serious. Can you talk to us about Dave the cat?
Oh, Dave's fine. He had a little scrap with the other cat the other night. I think they're fighting over territory and the food. But he's doing well, and hopefully I can stick to my promise where I said that he would come home with us if we was to win the World Cup. So Dave's fine. Thank you for asking.
Lucky charm.
Hopefully.
Hello, Kyle. I'm Damien for the French TV. I will be very original. I will talk about Mbappé.
Yeah.
Do you know what he said about you last year in France football? Did you hear about that?
No.
He said that you are one of the rare players that made him suffer. How do you feel about what he said?
No, it's nice to hear, obviously, from a good player that he's had a good game against, a tough game against me. I don't know how to say it even more, that I feel that he's a top player. I'm not underestimating that one bit, but we're not playing tennis. It's not a solo sport. It's a team game, and I'm sure you're aware that it takes a team, to win a game of football. Okay, one individual moment can win you a match, but from what we've seen here, it's 90 plus their extra time, which has been a lot, and anything can happen in that. So. Again, they have to worry about us. It's not just us worrying about them.
And one more question, because we have Mbappé, a young, talented player.
Yeah.
But you, English people, have a lot of young, talented players, like Declan Rice, like Bukayo Saka, like Foden, like others. Can you tell us something about this new generation? Because you are like an old guy with these guys. Can you tell us about these young players?
I think it's great for the English game. As you just mentioned, a few there with, Jude being one of them that have come onto the scene and kind of, they've had this courage to play for England that probably many of us didn't have when we was that age, where it's no fear, it's fearless, and they go and, express themselves. I feel that we have to pay a big, compliment to the manager for him allowing us to do that, and him allowing these youngsters to have the chance and go and express themselves. But I think it's also to them and their dedication to the game and how they want to, obviously be the best that they can be as a footballer.
Okay, to James Ollie here.
Hi, Kyle.
Hi,
James
mate.
Ollie from ESPN. You're only 32, so this might be a premature question, but have you thought about your international future at all? Is there a possibility this might be your last tournament with England?
No, I'm a guy that takes a game at a time. I don't really look towards the future. I can assure you now that I will go for as long as possible, as long as I feel that it's right for myself, my family, and also for the nation. And if the manager thinks that's right, I feel really fit, I feel strong, I feel energetic. I still, want to achieve things that I've already achieved and I still haven't achieved in football. And the hunger's still there, so I feel great. It's not going to happen, anytime soon, but as again, who knows in the future what will happen? It's going to come to an end one day, isn't it?
But From the way you're talking, you're thinking 2024 is very realistic. And
2024, I'm 34. As long as I'm performing well and I feel good in my body, and the manager wants to pick me first and foremost, then we'll see. But as again, I'm really not thinking, too far into the future, and that's not to, bypass your question. It's more, game at a time, which is on Saturday, and then we'll look and see what happens from there on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Kyle.
Hi.
Frederick Hub from AFP. I had a question. I was looking at the statistics, and I noticed that England has much more possession than in the previous tournament, like 10 points more than in Russia and 14 points more than at the Euro. Is it something the coach has asked you to work on? And second, does it make it easier for people like you who come from a club like Manchester City, where possession is an important target in the game?
I feel why we've got more or less is maybe down to the tactics that we played a 5 in the Euros and the World Cup. So maybe we can control the ball a little bit better, and we've got more men further up the field with attacking minds. Does it help me personally? Of course, I'm used to playing, with Man City and Pep, and he does like to keep the team and pass the other teams to death, really. So listen, we try and play in our own way, but I think that we also have to take into consideration the manager's ideas here. He's got different ideas to Pep, and he'll do what he feels is best for the nation in getting the 3 points.
Hi, Walker. Rafael Nario from TV Globo from Brazil. We know that you had played with Hugo Lloris in Tottenham, and Harry Kane still plays with him. Do you know any secrets to beat him? And what do you think Harry Kane has any secret for that?
If I told you the secret, it wouldn't be a secret. So I'm going to keep the secret with me. I feel that obviously Harry and I have both played with him. Eric Dyer have played with him, for a number of years, and Harry will know what to do when he comes into that position. But also Hugo will know what Harry's going to do. So I think it's a little bit of cat and mouse. The main thing is for us is to get this victory. We desperately want it. I think as a nation we've worked really hard in the last 4 years to achieve what we want to achieve, and now, as you can see, all these people are here because they know it's going to be a fantastic game, and I think that's credit to to both nations with what they've achieved over the years.
Carl, David Ornstein from The Athletic. I hope you're playing tomorrow, on Saturday after all the Mbappé questions. Declan Rice missed training today. Is he going to be okay from what you know? Is it just a minor illness, or is there a doubt over him?
I honestly didn't know until we was doing the pre-act in the gym. I still don't know because I haven't spoke to the lads. I just wondered where he was. So maybe it's a medical issue. I'm not too sure. Maybe ask the doctor. He'll be able to tell you something.
You mentioned the other tournaments, semi-finals in 2018, Euros final. You've been involved in all of them as one of the more senior players. Do you assess this group as having the best chance of winning the trophy compared to the previous 2 major tournaments?
I don't know, actually, because I feel that the standard of players has probably gone up another level in this tournament. I'm not saying that Russia was a bad standard, but I feel that us as a team was a little bit inexperienced in big game matches. Okay, we knocked a few walls down in Russia with winning a penalty shootout and stuff like that, but we still was inexperienced. We got to the semi-final, we scored early. We didn't really know how to handle that. So I think we're more equipped. But I do think that the players for the other teams, I mean, you look at Morocco, for example, how well they played against a very, very good Spain team and went and got the result that they wanted. And I feel that, you've had a few surprises with Japan and stuff like that in this World Cup. So I feel that there's, the standard of players has gone up probably a little bit more than Russia.
And just quickly, if you don't mind, obviously you had a day off yesterday and we've seen all the fun and games around the camp. But is there a palpable feeling now with France coming quarter-final, do or die, as you say, that there's a change in atmosphere in the camp, a greater seriousness, a bit less larking around, which is a good thing, and a bit more, this is it now?
I don't think there's ever been that. I mean, it's a bit cliche for me to say that we don't have a laugh and of course we have a laugh and a joke, but when you train and you work hard. You make sure that you get the details in that you need to know, and then when you've got your free time, it's free time. You know, you need to make sure that it's a relaxed camp, that no one's really listening, no offence, to the outside noise and anything like that, and we just concentrate on ourselves. You know, it's us that are going to have to walk over that white line on Saturday and hopefully get the victory, but you know, we need you guys as the media, the fans that are going to be travelling over, and you know, they've been fantastic singing for us. You know, you're the 12th man to hopefully make us go and get the victory that we want.
Hi, Kyle. James Robson, AP. You've probably spent the past 5 years or so at club level always being the favourites, you know, no matter what, who City play. Maybe to the outside, England would be just about underdogs in this match. How would that affect the way you go into it?
I don't think it changes. If we're the favourites, we're not the favourites. It's a game of football. I think you've seen in this World Cup what can happen in 90 plus minutes. You know, there's been a few upsets, a few teams thinking that they're going to go out early doors, and you know, they managed to string a couple of good results together, and that's what we just have to think. It's another game. As I keep saying, we take our hat off to them. They're the world champions. They got the respect that they deserve because they won their last World Cup. But I can assure you that each and every one of us, whether it's the 11 that's starting or the people that come on, will not be rolling the red carpet out for them to go and perform and think it is a theatre for them to showcase their great talent. You know, we've also got great talent that I think that we need to be speaking about as well. The goals that we've scored, the clean sheets that we've kept, and we just move forward with that.
You don't see yourself as underdogs at all?
Say again, sorry?
You don't see yourself as underdogs at all, as far as you're concerned?
I see yourself playing the world champions, and I see two very good teams that are going to go toe-to-toe. I don't see no outright favourite or, you know, underdog.
Okay, we've got four lined up. Silent gentleman here.
Hi, Kyle.
Hi.
Myself from the Dutch Telegraph. I come from a country where managers have always thought that attacking football is the best for our country. Louis van Gaal's doing the opposite now. He says we have to be a counter-attacking team if we want to win something. At the same time, I feel as if your team is probably more attacking and more attractive than any other time for many years. Would you agree? And how do you look at this situation of whether you can attack or not in a World Cup?
I feel that we've got great players, and I think we've got great players that can come off the bench and affect games, which they've done. And I think that's full credit to, we'll say, the likes of Marcus Rashford, who come off the bench and, you know, scored a goal. Jack Grealish, who's come off the bench and scored a goal. The players that have started, you know, Bukayle's been on fire, Phil's scoring goals, Harry's got his goal now. So we've got goals coming from all end of the field. Now, me as a defender, I want clean sheets. You know, I'm fantastic if you go and get goals, but if we scrape through and win a 1-0, and I know that, you know, the back four, the back five have dug in and, you know, made sure that we get that clean sheet. That's my main concern of, you know, not conceding goals. But as you say, it's a great bunch to be in. I can tell you in training it's tough marking some of these guys, but you want to play against the best in the world, and I think we've got some of them, you know, in that changing room across the road.
Hi, Kyle. Here.
Yeah.
Vincent from French media. I have two questions for you. The first one would be, do you think there's a special rivalry between France and England, even today? And the second one would be about Hugo Lloris. What do you think about him as a person and as a goalkeeper? Thanks.
I think France and England have always been a great game and a great battle. I remember watching, you know, France and England when I was growing up, and it's always been, you know, a great match. I think you're going to get another one come Saturday. As for Hugo, he was my captain at Tottenham. I remember when he signed, when there was Brad Friedel in net and Hugo come from Lyon. And he's always been a great professional and a great captain. So I have nothing but good words to say for Hugo. But I mean, if he's watching, I hope you don't have the best of games on Saturday, because, you know, I want to win and I want to take my nation through.
Hi, Carl. Roman from National World. There's this perception that when you play big games, or when England play big games, they play with the handbrake on. 5 at the back and then try to catch up teams. It happened against Italy in the Euros final. Is this the perfect opportunity to go out there and boss the world champions and play to your ultimate limit?
I think it's a great opportunity to put a stamp down and to say that we are a good team and we can achieve, great things. And I think that it will ultimately give us the belief that we can actually go on and win this. I'm not saying that we don't believe, but to beat a big team like France in a quarterfinals match and the reigning world champions, you've got to take some confidence from that. Not arrogancy, but confidence. As you said, for defending or being a little bit more negative in previous tournaments, I feel that the manager makes the right call to play a 4 or play a 5. No one was complaining about a 5 in defence when we reached the European final. But then all of a sudden when we get to the European final and it's probably not as attacking as what people have liked to see, then it was a bad move. So I think it's a little bit harsh to judge him on what he's done previously. I think we've moved forward from this tournament as playing as a 4 and playing really good attacking football and scoring goals. So let's just go off the last game, which we won, and it was a comfortable win, I feel, and we move forward from that.
Okay, last question of this section from Jerry there.
Hi, Carl. Jerry Lawton here at the Daily Star. Good luck.
Thank you.
At the weekend.
Thank you.
Would you believe there's been a tornado 10 miles north of the ground where you're going to play today? There's a guy on the internet holding a pile of hail.
Yeah.
The last thing I thought I'd be asking you in a desert question, but rain is actually forecast, a really good chance on Saturday. Do you think, you'll probably be used to playing in the rain, that might be something that will have an influence on the type of game we get and England's chances?
I never thought I'd say it. I can't wait to see rain. It's been that long, and living in Manchester, you see rain every day. It was actually looked like it was going to rain when we was training outside, so I'm not surprised that you said that it was a tornado, obviously where the ground was. It can have a factor, France experienced rain as well, so it's both teams playing in different weather conditions than what they've been used to over the last couple of weeks and being out here. But I don't think that that's going to really make the difference between two sides, a little bit of rain, if I'm being honest.
Okay, well, that ends the live section. We'll now move on to a very short section of Bargain until 10:30 p.m. this evening UK time.